How does a 2 a.m. demand for $9,000 turn into a police call that flips a family upside down? I told my son to call his wife and went back to sleep because I was done being his emergency wallet. An hour later, the police asked if I knew what my name was being used for, and I realized the real bill had been building for years. As the story unfolds, take a moment to like, hit the hype button, subscribe, and write in the comments, would you forgive him or walk away? The phone screamed at 2 in the morning, not buzzed, screamed. I knew before I looked at the screen that it was Evan. My son only called when he needed something, and it was always urgent. Dad. His voice came through tight, clipped. I need $9,000, right now. I sat up in bed, rubbed my eyes, and waited for the rest. There was always a rest with Evan. My card got declined at the hotel, the luxury one downtown. They're threatening to call the police if I don't settle the bill tonight. You need to wire me $9,000 immediately. No, hello. No, sorry to wake you. Just the demand, wrapped in panic like a gift I was supposed to open with gratitude. Evan, I said, keeping my voice level. It's 2 in the morning. I know what time it is. This is serious. They're holding our room key. Tessa is mortified. Just send the money and I'll explain later. I could hear the hotel lobby sounds in the background, voices, the chime of an elevator, Evan's breathing, sharp and impatient. Call your wife, I said. Silence. What? Call Tessa. She handles the money, right? That's what you always tell me, so call her. Dad, she's right here. This is both of us asking. We need you to fix this. Fix this. Like I was a mechanic and his life was a busted engine. Then you two figure it out together, I said. I'm going back to sleep. You can't just... I ended the call. Set the phone face down on the nightstand. Closed my eyes. The silence felt good. I'd been climbing towers and scaffolding since I was 20. Spent years hanging off buildings in wind that could peel your skin back, learning that panic was a choice. You either kept your hand steady or you fell. Evan never learned that. He thought volume was the same as urgency, and urgency was the same as importance. I went back to sleep. When my alarm went off at 5:30, I had 11 missed calls. 4 from Evan, 3 from Tessa, 2 from a number I didn't recognize, 2 voicemails. I ignored them all, got dressed, made coffee, and headed out to the van. My cleaning company wasn't big, but it was mine. 3 crews, 12 employees, steady contracts with office buildings and a few retail chains. I still worked field jobs most days because I liked the work, liked the clarity of it. You cleaned something, it got clean. Simple. I was halfway through my coffee when my phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered. Is this Zane Trenwick? Yeah. This is Officer Grant Hale with the downtown precinct. We need to ask you some questions about an incident last night at the Grand Mark Hotel. The coffee turned sour in my stomach. What kind of incident? There was a dispute over payment. Your name came up in connection with account details and authorization. Can you come down to the station this morning? I sat there in the van, engine idling, staring at the dashboard. I'll be there in 30 minutes, I said. The drive downtown gave me time to think, time to run through every conversation I'd had with Evan over the past year, every request, every demand. Every time he'd called me Dad like it was a button he could push to get what he wanted. I thought about Tessa, about the way she smiled when she wanted something, the way she'd started asking about my business 6 months ago. Casual questions. How's work going? Do you need help with paperwork? What kind of accounts does a cleaning company use? I'd thought she was being interested, being family. Now I wondered what she'd really been doing. The police station was a gray building that looked like it had been designed to make people feel small. I parked in the visitor lot and walked through the front doors into a lobby that smelled like burned coffee and floor wax. A woman at the front desk looked up. Can I help you? Zane Trenwick. I'm here to see Officer Hale. She made a call, nodded, and pointed to a row of plastic chairs. "He'll be right out." I sat down and watched people move through the station. A woman with a black eye filling out forms, a teenager in handcuffs being led down a hallway, a lawyer in a suit checking his phone. This was where lives came apart, where mistakes turned into records, where family problems became legal problems. I didn't want to be here, but I was. Officer Hale appeared after 10 minutes. He was mid-30s, buzz-cut, the kind of cop who looked like he ran marathons for fun. He wore his uniform like it was part of his skin. "Mr. Trenwick?" I stood. "Yeah. Thanks for coming in. Follow me." He led me through a door, down a hallway, and into a small interview room with cinder-block walls and a table that had seen better decades. 2 chairs, no windows, a camera in the corner with a red light blinking. Hale sat down across from me and put a file folder on the table. Didn't open it yet. "I appreciate you coming in so quickly," he said. "This shouldn't take long. I just need to ask you some questions about last night." "Okay." "Your son, Evan Trenwick, and his wife Tessa checked into the Grandmark Hotel 3 nights ago. Last night, when they tried to check out, their payment card was declined. They attempted to use your business account information to settle the bill. The hotel flagged it as suspicious and called us." I kept my face neutral. "I didn't authorize that." "That's what we're trying to establish. The hotel staff said your son claimed you'd handle the payment. He gave them your business name, tax ID number, and what appeared to be account routing information. When they tried to process it, the bank rejected the transaction. Your son became agitated. Security got involved. Things escalated. He called me at 2 a.m., demanding $9,000. I told him to call his wife and went back to sleep." Hale's mouth twitched, almost a smile. "That checks out with the timeline. The hotel called us around 2:45. But here's the thing, Mr. Trenwick. This isn't the first time your name has come up in connection with your son's financial issues." The room felt smaller. "What do you mean?" Hale opened the folder. Inside were printouts, bank forms, credit applications, notes written in tight handwriting. "We ran a basic check after the hotel called. Over the past 6 months, there have been 7 inquiries on your business credit, 3 attempts to open new lines of credit, 2 attempts to access existing accounts, all denied because they didn't have proper authorization codes, but every attempt used your name, your business tax ID, and accurate personal information." I stared at the papers. My name, my numbers, my business. All of it laid out like evidence at a trial. "I didn't authorize any of that." "I believe you, but someone with access to your information did. The applications came from different IP addresses, some online, some over the phone. The phone attempts identified the caller as your daughter-in-law." "Tessa." I thought about the questions, the casual conversations, the way she'd offered to help with admin work, the way I'd laughed it off and said I had it handled. She hadn't been trying to help. She'd been gathering information. "What happens now?" I asked. "That depends on you. The hotel isn't pressing charges yet. They're treating it as a payment dispute. But if you want to file a complaint about identity misuse or fraud, we can open an investigation." I looked at the folder, at my name repeated over and over on forms I'd never seen. "I need to think about it." Hale nodded. "Take your time. But Mr. Trenwick, if this keeps happening, it's going to get worse. People like this don't stop until they hit a wall." "What kind of wall?" "The legal kind." I left the station and sat in my van for a long time, staring at the steering wheel. My phone was buzzing. Messages from the family group chat, messages from Evan, messages from Tessa. I didn't look at them. Instead, I drove to the bank. The branch where I'd had my business accounts for 15 years was in a strip mall next to a coffee shop and a dry cleaner. I parked and walked inside, past the ATM machines and the waiting area, straight to the desk of Colleen Marsh, the branch manager. She looked up, and her smile faltered when she saw my face. "Zane, is everything okay?" "No." I sat down, told her about the police station, about the hotel, about the 7 inquiries. Colleen's face went tight. She pulled up something on her computer, typed fast, and turned the screen toward me. I was going to call you today. We flagged your account this morning. There have been attempts to access your business line of credit. All denied, but the requests kept coming. They had your tax ID, your business address, your phone number, everything except the security codes. Who made the requests? The online ones came through automated forms, no way to trace who submitted them. But the phone calls were different. We have notes from our customer service team. The caller identified herself as your bookkeeper and said she was helping with administrative overflow. She knew enough about your business to sound legitimate. What did she ask for? Account balances, credit limits, routing numbers. Our team followed protocol and refused to give out secure information, but she got partial details before we shut it down. I felt cold. When did this start? Colleen scrolled through the notes. First call was 8 months ago. 8 months. Tessa had been planning this for 8 months. Colleen, I need to lock everything down. New account numbers, new passwords, new security questions, everything. We can do that today. It'll take a few hours to process, but we'll get it done. And Zane, I have to ask. Do you want to file a fraud report? I thought about Evan. About the look on his face when I told him no at 2 a.m. About the years I'd spent trying to be the father he needed, even when he treated me like an inconvenience. Not yet, I said. But I need everything documented. Every attempt, every call, every inquiry. I want a record. Done. I spent the next 3 hours at the bank, filling out forms, creating new accounts, changing security protocols. By the time I left, my business finances were locked down tighter than a vault. But it didn't feel like a victory. It felt like proof. Proof that my own son and his wife had been treating me like a resource to exploit. I sat in the van and finally looked at my phone. The family group chat was on fire. Evan, Dad, you embarrassed us in front of the hotel staff. This is humiliating. Evan, we're family. You're supposed to help us. That's what families do. Tessa, I can't believe you hung up on Evan. He was in crisis and you just went back to sleep. What kind of father does that? Evan, the hotel threatened to ban us. Do you understand that? Ban us. Because of you. Tessa, we've always been there for you, Zane. Every holiday, every birthday, we show up, we support you, and this is how you treat us when we need you? Then a new message from Evan dropped in. Dad, I'm in real trouble. The hotel is threatening legal action. If you don't fix this, don't bother calling yourself a father. I stared at the message, read it twice, let the words sink in. Then I turned off my phone and drove to the industrial supply store. The supply store was a warehouse-sized building filled with shelves of cleaning products, equipment, and safety gear. I walked the aisles slowly, picking up gloves, checking inventory, grabbing bottles of industrial-strength cleaner. The routine steadied me. The simplicity of it. No manipulation here, no guilt trips, just work. I was loading a case of floor wax into my cart when my phone buzzed in my pocket. I'd turned it back on out of habit. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Trenwick, this is Lydia Park. I'm the front office manager at the Grandmark Hotel. I stopped walking. Yeah? I wanted to follow up on last night's incident. The police were here this morning taking statements, and I thought you should know what's happening on our end. Okay. Your son and daughter-in-law are claiming you verbally agreed to cover their stay. They're saying it was a miscommunication and that you're refusing to honor your commitment. I never agreed to anything. I didn't think so. But they're being very insistent. They've also mentioned that you run a cleaning company and implied that the Grandmark is one of your clients. My jaw tightened. We don't have a contract with the Grandmark. I know. I checked our vendor list this morning. But they're using your company's name to try to pressure us into waiting for payment. They're saying if we pursue this, it'll damage your professional reputation. That's manipulation. I know. That's why I'm calling. I wanted to give you a heads up before this gets messier. There's also something else you should know. What? We have security footage from the lobby. Your son made several phone calls last night, and at one point, he was showing his phone screen to our night manager. We believe he was displaying account information. Your account information. I closed my eyes. Can I see that footage? Not without a formal request, but if the police subpoena it, we'll provide it. I just wanted you to be aware it exists. I appreciate that. Mr. Trenwick, I've been in hospitality for 20 years. I've seen a lot of family disputes. This one feels different. It feels calculated. It is. She was quiet for a moment. If you need anything from our side, let me know. We keep detailed records. I thanked her and hung up. Then I called Harper Cole. Harper was a civil attorney I'd met years ago at a safety training seminar. She specialized in contract disputes, financial abuse cases, and employment law. We'd stayed in touch over the years, mostly through holiday cards and the occasional coffee. I'd never needed her professionally before. Now I did. Zane Trenwick, she said when she picked up. It's been too long. How are you? I need advice, Harper, not drama, just advice. Her tone shifted. Professional, focused. Tell me everything. I laid it out. The 2 a.m. call, the hotel, the police station, the bank, the security footage, the pattern of access attempts, the timeline. Harper listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a few seconds. This is textbook financial identity misuse, she said. Possibly fraud, depending on intent. You need to document everything, every call, every text, every bank record, every hotel statement, and you need to do it systematically. Why? Because if this goes legal, documentation is your weapon. Right now, it's your word against theirs. But if you have records, timestamps, witness statements, institutional backup, you control the narrative. What do I do next? First, don't confront them directly. Not yet. Let them think they're still in control. People get sloppy when they think they're winning. I thought about Evan's message. Don't bother calling yourself a father. Second, Harper continued, gather everything. Call logs, text screenshots, bank statements, hotel records, emails, anything that shows a pattern, organize it chronologically. Okay. Third, come to my office tomorrow. Bring everything you've collected. We'll build a case, and when we're ready, we move all at once. Clean, legal, definitive. What kind of case? Cease and desist. Formal separation of financial ties. Revocation of any implied access or authority. If necessary, civil action for damages. But we do it right. No drama, no shouting, just procedure. I felt something shift in my chest. Not anger, not hurt, just clarity. Tomorrow morning. What time? 9. And Zane, one more thing. This is going to feel like you're attacking your family. People will tell you that. Your son will definitely tell you that. Don't let it get in your head. You're not attacking them. You're protecting yourself from people who are attacking you. Got it. I hung up and stood in the middle of the supply store, surrounded by mops and buckets and bottles of cleaner. For the first time in days, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I finished shopping, loaded the van, and drove to my company's storage unit. The storage unit was in an industrial park on the east side of town. I'd rented it 3 years ago when the business started growing and I needed a place to keep extra equipment, uniforms, and files. It was a converted garage with a roll-up door and a concrete floor. Shelves lined the walls, stacked with supplies. In the back corner was a filing cabinet where I kept all the company records. I unlocked the door, pulled it up, and stepped inside. The air smelled like cardboard and dust. The filing cabinet had 4 drawers. I pulled open the one labeled Admin and started flipping through folders. Invoices, contracts, payroll records, tax documents, everything organized by date. Then I found the folder Nora had made, the one labeled Irregular Requests. Nora Vale had been my bookkeeper for 3 years. She was meticulous, detail-oriented, the kind of person who noticed when things didn't add up. Inside the folder were 6 emails, all from Tessa. all sent over the past 8 months. The first one was dated February. Hi, Nora. Hope you're doing well. Zane mentioned he's been swamped with work lately, so I offered to help him organize some of his business files. Could you send over the business tax ID? He needs it for a vendor meeting but can't find his copy. Thanks so much. The second one was from March. Hey, Nora, quick question. What's the routing number for Zane's main business account? He's at a job site and can't check right now, but he needs it for a deposit. Appreciate it. The third one was from April. Nora, I'm helping Zane with some administrative overflow this month. Could you confirm the details on his business credit line? He wants to make sure everything's current before tax season ends. Each email was polite, friendly, professional. Each one was a lie. I called Nora. She picked up on the second ring. Hey, Zane, what's up? Those emails from Tessa, the ones in the irregular folder. Did I ever actually ask you to send that information? Long pause. No, she said slowly. You didn't. That's why I flagged them. The first time she emailed, I thought it was legit. But then she kept asking for different things and it felt off. So I started saving the emails and only gave her partial information. What do you mean partial? Like she'd ask for the tax ID and I'd confirm the first few digits but not the whole thing. Or she'd ask for routing numbers and I'd say I needed authorization from you first. I never gave her anything that would let her access accounts. Good. That's good. Zane, what's going on? I told her. The hotel, the police, the bank, the pattern. Nora was quiet when I finished. She's been planning this, Nora said, for months. Yeah. What do you need from me? Copies of all those emails. And I need you to lock down access to anything financial. Passwords, account numbers, vendor contacts, payroll systems, everything. If anyone asks for information, even if they say it's from me, you verify directly with me first. Done. I'll send you the email copies in an hour. Thanks, Nora. Zane, I'm sorry, I should have told you sooner. You did exactly what you should have done. You flagged it and kept records. That's what's going to matter. I hung up and sat on an overturned bucket, staring at the emails. Tessa had been methodical, patient. She'd built a relationship with Nora, gained trust, asked for small things first, then bigger things, each request framed as helping me. It was smart, calculated, careful, and it had almost worked. I spent the next hour organizing everything into a single folder, printed copies of the bank statements showing the access attempts, screenshots of the family group chat messages, notes from Officer Hale, Lydia Park's contact information, Nora's emails, everything documented, everything dated, everything ready. Then I drove to the high-rise downtown where we had a long-term cleaning contract. Mason Reeve, the property manager, was in his office on the 12th floor. His door was open, and he waved me in when he saw me. Zane, good timing. I was about to call you. I sat down. Yeah? He turned his computer screen toward me. Got a weird email this morning from the Grand Mark Hotel corporate office. They're asking about your company's vendor status and whether we've had any payment issues or contract disputes. My stomach tightened. What did you tell them? That we've worked with you for 4 years and never had a single problem. Your crews are professional, your invoices are accurate, and you're one of the most reliable contractors we have. But it made me curious. What's going on? I told him the short version. The hotel incident, the police contact, the pattern of financial misuse. Mason leaned back in his chair, shaking his head. Your own son. Yeah. That's rough, man. I'm sorry. It is what it is, but I need to ask you something. Why would the Grand Mark be contacting you about my company? Mason pulled up another email. They're part of the same property management group as this building. We have quarterly vendor review meetings where we discuss contracts, performance, and potential expansions. The next one's scheduled for next week. Your name's on the list. Why? The Grand Mark's looking at expanding their cleaning contracts. They want to bring in new vendors for their properties across the city, You were recommended. I sat there, processing. Recommended by who? Lydia Park. She's their front office manager, but she also sits on the vendor review board. She put your name forward before this whole incident happened. The pieces clicked together. Evan and Tessa had tried to use my business reputation to pressure the hotel, but they didn't know the hotel was already considering me for a contract. They didn't know Lydia Park had been watching. They didn't know the vendor meeting was coming. They'd walked into a trap they didn't even see. Mason, I need a favor. Name it. Can you make sure I'm at that meeting? He studied me for a moment. You want to be there when they discuss the incident? Yeah, I really do. Consider it done. I left the high-rise and sat in my van, watching the city move around me. People going to work, grabbing coffee, living their lives. None of them knew that mine was about to change. My phone buzzed. Voicemail from Lydia Park. Mr. Trenwick, this is Lydia at the Grand Mark. I wanted to let you know that the incident from the other night has been escalated to a formal review. It'll be discussed at next week's vendor meeting with the property management group. I thought you should be aware. If you have any questions, feel free to call me back. I saved the message. Then I drove home and started organizing everything into a presentation folder. Call logs, bank statements, emails from Nora, screenshots from the group chat, notes from Officer Hale, contact information for Lydia Park and Colleen Marsh at the bank, every piece of evidence, every lie, every manipulation, all of it organized, all of it ready. I didn't sleep much that night, but I didn't need to. I was done being tired. Harper Cole's office was above a coffee shop downtown. I arrived at 8:50. She was already waiting with legal pads and coffee. Right on time, show me. I laid everything out, the timeline, emails, bank records, police notes, hotel contacts, screenshots. She reviewed it carefully, marking dates and connections. This is solid, she said. Pattern, intent, and institutional witnesses, the hotel, bank, bookkeeper, police, they all confirm the same behavior. What's the move? We cut them off completely, financially and legally. We revoke any access, file notices with every institution they touched, and make it clear that further use of your name triggers immediate legal action. When? After the vendor meeting, Tuesday, right? Perfect. Let them think they're safe, then we close every door at once, clean, legal, permanent. What do I do? Nothing. Go to the meeting, stay calm. Don't argue or explain. I'll file everything the same day. Criminal charges? Optional. Civil is faster and cleaner. Damages, restraining orders if needed, and no waiting on prosecutors. Civil. Smart. An hour later, I left with a clear plan and a folder of legal ammunition. I felt lighter, not because it was over, but because I had a strategy based on facts, not apologies. The vendor meeting was in 5 days. I went to a job site, checked the crew, helped move equipment. The physical work grounded me. At noon, my phone buzzed. Family group chat. Evan, this silent treatment is childish. Tessa, at least communicate. Evan, you're letting us suffer over a hotel bill? I typed a reply, deleted it, then muted the chat. Don't engage, Harper had said. That afternoon, I checked the storage unit again. In an old folder labeled Emergency Contacts, Evan was listed first. I crossed his name out and wrote Nora's instead. Small change, but it mattered. I locked up and went to a coffee shop near the courthouse, sat by the window watching lawyers and clerks pass by, people living ordinary days, and I waited. My phone rang. Unknown number again. I almost didn't answer, but something told me I should. This is Zane. Mr. Trenwick, it's Lydia Park again. I hope I'm not bothering you. Not at all. What's up? I wanted to give you another update. Your son and daughter-in-law came back to the hotel this morning. They tried to access their room, but their key cards had been deactivated. They demanded to speak with a manager. What did they want? They claimed they had personal belongings still in the room and that we were holding them hostage. I explained that all their belongings had been moved to secure storage and that they could collect them during business hours with proper identification. How'd they react? Not well. Your daughter-in-law threatened to leave negative reviews. Your son mentioned contacting a lawyer. I remained professional and reminded them that the matter was under review. I appreciate you keeping me informed. There's something else. After they left, I reviewed the checkout footage more carefully. Your son made another phone call from the lobby. Based on the duration and his body language, it looked like he was arguing with someone. The call lasted about 7 minutes. Do you know who he called? No, but the timestamp was 9:43 a.m. today. I checked my phone. I'd received a call from an unknown number at 9:45. I hadn't answered. He might have tried to call me. That would make sense. Mr. Trenwick, I don't want to overstep, but in my experience, people who behave this way tend to escalate before they accept consequences. Be careful. I will. Thanks, Lydia. I hung up and sat there, thinking about her warning. Escalate. What would that look like? More angry texts? Showing up at a job site? Contacting my clients directly? I pulled out my phone and sent a quick email to all my major clients. Short and professional. Due to a personal matter, please be aware that only I am authorized to make changes to our contracts or discuss billing. If anyone contacts you claiming to represent my company, please verify directly with me first. I hit send and watched the emails go out. Mason replied within 5 minutes. Got it. Everything okay? I wrote back. Will be soon. The next 3 days passed in a strange rhythm. I worked, managed crews, avoided my phone except for business calls. Evan and Tessa kept texting. The messages got sharper, more desperate. Tessa, you're making this so much worse than it needs to be. We're willing to forget the whole thing if you just pay the hotel bill. Evan, people are asking questions, Dad. Do you know how humiliating this is? Tessa, I'm talking to a lawyer. You're forcing our hand. Evan, we're family. You're supposed to help family. That's what it means. I read them all. Didn't respond to any of them. On Saturday morning, 2 days before the vendor meeting, Nora called. Zane, I got a weird voicemail. From who? Tessa. She said she was trying to reach you and couldn't get through. She asked if I knew why you were acting strange, and if there was anything going on with the business that she should know about. What did you tell her? Nothing. I didn't call her back, but it felt like she was fishing for information. She was. Don't engage with her. If she contacts you again, let me know. Will do. That afternoon, I went to the storage unit one more time. This time, I wasn't looking for documents. I was looking for something else. In the back corner, behind a stack of boxes, I found my old climbing gear, harness, ropes, carabiners, equipment I hadn't used in years. I pulled out the harness and ran my hands over the straps, checked the stitching, the buckles, the wear points. Climbing had taught me patience, taught me that rushing got you hurt, taught me that the most dangerous moment was when you thought you were safe. I packed the gear back into its bag and locked up the unit. The vendor meeting was in 2 days. On Monday night, the night before the meeting, Evan called. I stared at the phone, watched it ring, let it go to voicemail. He called again, and again. On the 4th call, I answered. What? Dad. His voice was different, angrier, sharper. We need to talk. I'm listening. This whole thing is out of control. You're making us look like criminals. The hotel's threatening collections. Tessa's family is asking questions. You're destroying our reputation. Your reputation isn't my responsibility. I'm your son, and I'm not your emergency fund. Silence. You know what? Evan's voice went cold. Fine. You want to play it this way? We'll handle it ourselves. But don't expect us to forget this. Don't expect us to just move on. I won't. You're going to regret this. Maybe, but probably not. He hung up. I sat in my kitchen and stared at the phone. That was it. The line. the place where I stopped being managed by their panic. An hour later, Tessa called. "Zane, we need to talk. This hotel situation is out of hand. Evan's upset, I'm upset, and you're being unreasonable. We made a mistake, but you're treating us like criminals." "Did you try to access my business accounts?" Silence. "I was trying to help," she said. "Handle admin work. Take pressure off you." "Did I ask?" "That's what family does." "By lying to my bookkeeper, using my tax ID, giving hotels my account info?" "You're twisting this." "No, I'm clarifying it. We're your family." "Then act like it. Stop using my name. Stop contacting my business. If you need something, ask." "This is ridiculous." "No, this is over." I hung up. My hands were steady, breath calm. I thought of Kip Arden, my old climbing mentor. Panic makes you fall. Staying calm keeps you alive. I'd stayed calm, documented everything. Let institutions do the work. Tomorrow's vendor meeting would tell me if it was enough. That night, I checked the presentation one last time. Every document, every timeline, every detail. Then I went to bed and slept better than I had in weeks. I woke at 5, coffee, shower, work clothes. Nothing fancy. Just a man who ran a cleaning company and still did the jobs himself. I loaded the folder into the van and looked at my house. This was the moment everything either held or collapsed. I wasn't worried. I'd done the work, built the case, stayed calm. Now I just had to let the truth land. I started the van and drove downtown. The vendor meeting was in 2 hours. I woke up at 5 a.m. on Tuesday, made coffee, took a shower, got dressed in clean work clothes. I didn't dress up, didn't try to look like anything other than what I was. A guy who ran a cleaning company and still worked the jobs himself. I loaded the presentation folder into the van and drove downtown. The vendor meeting was scheduled for 10. I wanted to be early. The Grandmark Hotel was a glass tower in the financial district. 23 floors, luxury suites, conference facilities. The kind of place where people paid $500 a night to feel important. I parked in the garage beneath the building and took the elevator to the lobby, checked in at the front desk. "Zane Trenwick, I'm here for the vendor meeting." The desk clerk checked her computer. "Conference room 3, second floor. Take the elevators on your left." I rode up and found the conference room. It was set up like a boardroom. Long table, leather chairs, a screen on the wall for presentations, coffee station in the corner. Mason Reeve was already there, along with 2 other property managers I recognized from previous jobs. They nodded when I walked in. "Zane, good to see you." "You too." Lydia Park arrived a few minutes later. She was mid-40s, professional, carrying a laptop and a thick file folder. She shook my hand. "Mr. Trenwick, thanks for coming." "Thanks for the invitation." She set up her laptop at the head of the table. "We'll be starting in about 10 minutes. A few more people are on their way." I poured myself a cup of coffee and sat down. The door opened. Evan and Tessa walked in. They stopped when they saw me. Evan's face went pale. Tessa's mouth tightened. Evan recovered first, forcing a smile. "Dad, I didn't know you'd be here." "Vendor meeting," I said. I was invited. Tessa sat down across from me, smoothing her dress like she was preparing for a performance. Evan sat next to her, gripping the armrest of his chair. Officer Grant Hale walked in next. He was in uniform, carrying a notepad. He nodded at me, then took a seat near the door. The last person to arrive was a woman in a gray suit. She introduced herself as Margaret Chen, legal counsel for the property management group. Lydia stood at the head of the table. "Thank you all for coming. This meeting was called to address a financial incident involving the Grandmark Hotel and to review vendor relationships moving forward. I'll be presenting the facts as we understand them, and then we'll open the floor for discussion." She opened her laptop and turned on the screen. A timeline appeared, dates, events, names. On the night of the 10th, Evan and Tessa Trenwick checked out of the Grandmark after a 3-night stay. Their payment card was declined. They then provided business account information belonging to Zane Trenwick's cleaning company and claimed authorization to use it for payment. Evan started to speak. Lydia held up a hand. Our night manager attempted to verify this information by contacting the bank. The bank informed us that no such authorization existed and that the account details provided did not match our billing requirements. At that point, Mr. Evan Trenwick became agitated. He made several phone calls and showed our staff what appeared to be account information on his phone. Security was called. The situation escalated. She clicked to the next slide. A still image from security footage. Evan standing at the front desk, holding his phone out to the night manager. This footage shows Mr. Evan Trenwick displaying information to our staff. We've since confirmed with the bank that the details shown were accurate account information belonging to Zane Trenwick's business. Information that Mr. Zane Trenwick did not authorize to be shared or used. Tessa's face went pale. Lydia continued. Following this incident, we conducted a review of our records and discovered that Mr. Evan Trenwick had mentioned Zane Trenwick's cleaning company multiple times during check-in, implying a business relationship with the Grandmark. We have no such relationship on record. She clicked again. Bank records appeared on screen. Dates highlighted. We also contacted the bank and discovered a pattern of unauthorized access attempts on Mr. Zane Trenwick's business accounts over the past 8 months. 7 attempts in total. All denied. All using accurate personal and business information. Margaret Chen spoke up. Ms. Park, do we have documentation of these attempts? Yes. The bank provided a full report. It's included in your folders. Mason leaned forward. Lydia, you're saying this was a pattern, not just one incident? Correct. The hotel incident was the culmination of an 8-month pattern of financial misuse. Officer Hale pulled out his notepad. I can confirm that the police have documented this incident. Mr. Zane Trenwick came to the station voluntarily and provided a full statement. We're not pursuing criminal charges at this time, but the case is on record. Lydia looked at me. Mr. Trenwick, would you like to add anything? I opened my folder, pulled out the organized documents, set them on the table. This is a complete record of every unauthorized contact, every access attempt, and every instance where my name or business credentials were used without permission. It includes call logs, emails, bank statements, and witness statements from my bookkeeper. I slid the folder across the table to Margaret Chen. She opened it, flipped through the pages. Her expression didn't change, but her jaw tightened. This is comprehensive. I document everything. Lydia closed her laptop. Based on this review, the Grandmark Hotel is formally severing any potential future business relationship with Evan and Tessa Trenwick. We're also recommending that the property management group issue a formal notice to prevent further misuse of vendor credentials. Mason nodded. Agreed. We'll draft the notice today. Margaret Chen looked at Evan and Tessa. Do you have anything to say in response to these findings? Evan's face was red. This is insane. You're making us look like criminals over a billing dispute. This isn't a billing dispute, Margaret said. This is documented financial misuse. Tessa stood up. We made a mistake. We're willing to settle the hotel bill. This doesn't need to become a legal issue. It already is a legal issue, Margaret said. The question is how far it goes. I pulled out the second set of documents Harper had prepared. Formal notices, cease and desist letters, account separation filings. These are being filed today, I said. They revoke any access, real or implied, that Evan or Tessa Trenwick have to my personal or business accounts. They notify every financial institution I work with that no one is authorized to act on my behalf except me. They establish formal separation. Evan turned to me. Dad, you can't do this. I already did. We're family. Family doesn't steal. Tessa's voice shook. You're really going to destroy your relationship with your son over money? You destroyed it when you decided I was a tool instead of a person. Officer Hale stood up. Mr. and Mrs. Trenwick, I'm going to recommend you stop talking and contact a lawyer. Anything you say here can be used if this becomes a criminal matter. The room went silent. Lydia picked up a key card from the table, held it out to Evan. Your room access was revoked this morning. You have 1 hour to collect your belongings from the hotel storage and leave the property. If you return without authorization, you'll be trespassing. Evan took the key card. His hand was shaking. Margaret Chen closed her folder. This meeting is concluded. The property management group will be issuing formal vendor guidelines to prevent similar incidents in the future. Mr. Trenwick, your company's contract status remains unchanged, and will be moving forward with the expansion proposal Ms. Park submitted. She stood up. Everyone else followed. Evan and Tessa didn't move. They sat frozen, staring at the table. I walked to the door, stopped, looked back. You had years to treat me with respect, I said. You chose not to. This is what that choice looks like. I walked out. The hallway was quiet. The elevator chimed. The city hummed outside the windows. I took the elevator down to the lobby, walked through the revolving doors, and stepped into the morning light. My phone stayed in my pocket. The folder stayed in my van. The contracts were signed. The notices were filed. The doors were closed. I got in my van and drove to the next job.